Hello, Mr. Grenland here in our awesome storage area. I'm going to take you through how to use the Canon SL1 DSLR for video production and some of the features. I'm going to go through how to film, focus, and put some stabilizers with it using a tripod, and also how you can hook up microphones and other audio things. First thing with the Canon SL1 is it doesn't work with the lens cap on, so we take that off when we're ready to film. To film with this camera, it's kind of two steps. The first one, we switch this lever from off to the camera function, and that means that the back screen will show up. To record, we're going to hit the record button here. Okay? Once you see that red dot in the corner of the screen, that's recording. I'm going to go ahead and stop it. Now this button on the top here, when you're recording, will also focus it. So I'm going to hit the button here to record, and I'm going to focus on that tripod by holding that button down. And it's going to focus on the tripod in the middle of the frame. I can also take my finger and use the touch screen, and it will focus on that or whatever I touch in the scene. If I move the camera, you'll notice that it kind of locks onto the position of whatever I'm focusing on. Most of the time when you film, especially when you're first starting out, you're going to want to make sure that it's set to this A+. So I'm going to turn it to A+ there. That way it's going to make automatic setting changes inside the camera, so that when I'm filming something, it's nicely lit and things like that. As you get better at filming, you're definitely going to want to use the manual functions of the camera. This is going to give you a lot more creative control to compose your shot and adjust exposure and light, which is going to produce better films. Time of time when you want to switch lenses on the camera. When you do this, you want to make sure that the lenses are on both cameras before you switch them. And you're going to start by undoing the lens from the camera. We're going to set it on top of the cap. So we're going to loosen that. We're going to take it off, flip it over. We're going to uncap our other lens, put the cap on that lens, and then flip this onto the camera. Lay it out just as I have had it there. Find a flat surface that you can flip the cameras onto, and everything's going to stay a lot safer. Now you can store this back in the bag and continue working. To take the pictures or video off the DSLR here, we're going to take a USB cord, going to plug it into the side, and then turn the camera on. Now on the back, you're going to see a little computer screen. So on the computer, you're going to have this Canon EOS Rebel SL1. You can go into that. You can go into SD, and then DSIM, 100 Canon, and your footage should be in here somewhere. And you drag that to your desktop. Turn the camera off, and then unplug the USB cord. Okay, now that we've taken a brief look at the camera, we're going to have to figure out how to use this tripod. The first thing that you might want to do is figure out how to set up your tripod to the correct height. On each of the legs, we have these clips here. You can open them up and extend out the leg. So I'm going to open up the legs, extend it out, and get it to the height that I want. Now the first rule of tripods is this: never force anything. Is you might want to turn it. So if you unlock this, it's going to turn easily, so that when you tighten it, it can't move as easily. There's also hidden underneath here a little extension. So if I loosen the neck portion and I crank the handle, that allows this neck extension to go up. To get the camera to tip up and down, I loosen the handle here. It allows me to tip up and down. In order to attach a camera to the top of the tripod, you're going to unclip this quick release plate. So I unclip it here, and I can take the plate off, and then on the back side is this part here where I can use this and screw this part so that it attaches to the camera. On the bottom of the camera is the screw hole, and I want to attach it securely but not too tight. If you screw it on too tight, you can actually damage the underside of a camera. Twisting this, I'm twisting just this little nut here till it's nice and secure. That's pretty good. That's on there nice and snug. Now I can put it onto the tripod. I open the lock here. I slide the camera in. Now for video production, these straps, you're going to want to get rid of these straps. They're usually in the way. To do that, I'm going to unclip these little clips. We try and make sure that all the video production, the cameras used for video production, have these little clips so you can remove the straps easily when they're in the way. Now it's time to put in some audio cables. When you're setting up an interview or you have someone that you want to have clean audio from, you never want to use the onboard microphone. Next we're going to talk about our stabilizers and how to mount a camera on them. We're going to start by removing what's called the cheese plate on top. To remove the cheese plate, there's 4 screws located on the corners of the stabilizer. I'm going to loosen those screws. You just loosen a little bit and you pull them outward to remove them. And I'm going to lift off the cheese plate. The one that sticks out, that points towards the front, and then this is the back. We're going to place the camera 1 hole up and 1 hole in and screw through this location to the bottom of the camera. You're going to need one of the shorter screws like that, and you're going to screw it into the bottom of the camera. Okay? So 1 hole up, 1 hole over, and I'm going to screw this to the bottom of the camera. The bottom of the camera is a slotted screwdriver hole. You can use like a quarter or another washer here to tighten it just a little bit more, so it's a little bit more snug and fits better on the top of the stabilizer. Point the front towards the front again and screw the 4 corners back into place, attaching it to the stabilizer. Now it's time to put in some audio cables. When you're setting up an interview or you have someone that you want to have clean audio from, you never want to use the onboard microphone. The onboard microphone is right here, and the audio quality in it pretty bad, especially if you're holding to the camera. You'll hear this kind of rubbing and shaking all the time. So what we have is we have this side panel here, and one of the inputs is marked mic. And under here we have an 1/8 inch mic input cable that we can put in here. Cable attached to it for like a regular interview. So I come in here, I plug it into the side, and now you can have someone recording you and have the microphone right up here. Now to get quality audio, you want the microphone to be almost touching the lips. So if you take 2 fingers like this next to your mouth that's about as far away as you want the microphone to be. Maybe even 1 finger away. I've seen a lot of singers have it resting right against their soul patch there. Okay? So you want this kind of microphone, a dynamic microphone, to be very close. We have some other microphone options as well. We also have a lavalier mic. So this can get attached to the clip of someone's, the edge of someone's shirt, and this end plugged into the camera. One of the problems with this style of microphone is the cords aren't very long, so you're fairly limited to being very close to the camera. But you just clip it right by the shirt, as close as you can to the mouth, so that it's pointed up towards the mouth. One final option. We have these Tascam digital recorders. And you can take the live audio feed from here and run it into the camera. You can also plug in other microphones to the back end here, so you can have multiple microphones coming into the system and then into the camera. You can also keep this wireless and just record the audio separately, but then in Premiere you're going to have to synchronize the audio from this source and the audio from the camera source later. You take a regular auxiliary cord and go from the line out, the headphone jack here, and then plug the other end of the aux cord into the camera. When you turn on the Tascam by holding down the power button and then arming the recording by pushing the record button, now it's picking up the audio signal. Now you can place this closer to your talent and get quality audio from these Tascam recorders. When you're trying to get the audio off of the Tascam recorder, again, take the USB cord, plug it into the side, and turn on the recorder. Now on the screen, you have 2 options. You have bus power and storage. We're going to hit the down button and select storage, and then hit the enter button on the D-pad. And I'll say that it's USB connected. On the computer, we're going to go down to File Explorer, and we're going to look for DR40. In that file, we're going to find music, and then you might need to double-click and listen to your projects to figure out which one's yours, but then you're going to select your projects and drag them to your desktop. When you're done, turn off the recorder by holding the stop button, and then unplug it.